Yo,
Boom.
get off my plane. Where's my family? Where's my family? I'm not leaving without my family. I'm not leaving without my family. Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter's suitcase is with your... Where's my daughter's suitcase? I need to find... Why is this omelet not egg whites? What was that? We've seen that video. It's a video, right, of every compiled clip of him asking about something about his family. My daughter's suitcase was in the back of your truck. I need to find... I believe you have my family. I believe you have my wife's suit. My wife. I don't know. I need my son. Yeah, he's a good dad. He's a good fucking dad. I think that's all we really need to say.
Father. And all he wants is to be able to watch the game in peace, because that
14-13 Michigan. Way to go, Mr. President. That guy's like, hey, honey, I got in a movie.
Okay.
She's like, oh, you just played yourself, Richard. You're fucking annoying.
So this is 1997 Harrison Ford. We're going to talk all about this, guys. Welcome to the greatest movie ever made. I know the thumbnail, if you clicked on this, is not for that, but that is what we're doing today. We're talking about the movie Air Force One, which is one of the greatest ever. And it was, incidentally, the single first episode that Drew and I ever did of Action Movie Anatomy. The pilot episode was talking about this movie, which, Drew, I don't know if you saw on the outline, I pulled the original Action Movie Anatomy Air Force One pilot outline, and I copied it on there for review.
I'll be honest, I didn't know we had an outline for the show through all 8 weeks.
That's fair. But so that's what
that's fun.
Today. And
it is fun to look at these, right?
It's bizarre. It's so long ago.
Yeah.
So long ago. But so Harrison Ford, 1997. My question is, like, he got to kind of be about the same age in movies till like probably 2000. I don't know, 2004, maybe 2003. Feels like he didn't age from like basically Temple of Doom through about maybe like What Lies Beneath. But I recently watched What Lies Beneath.
It's tough though, because he does look really good. But the thing is that like you look at his face in Temple of Doom, like when they show him as like a professor with his glasses and a suit, you're like, damn, dude, I would let Harrison Ford take me out to dinner. I really would. He's a very good looking man.
He is.
And even Ashley was like, oh, this is still when he's good looking. Like, this is good looking Harrison Ford times, right? I was like, yeah, he really does, but he definitely looks older. And I don't think he could have played as old of a guy as he did in this movie, obviously, like back in Temple of Doom times. But it looks like he aged like maybe 5 years, not like 20 years had passed, you know?
He's pretty close, though. And I think my point was when I remarked about him in 2000 and What Lies Beneath, I was just like, man, he's obviously working to keep himself pretty in shape here, because he looks like legit shredded. Also, he definitely has the body and the like of old, like middle-aged man hitting people in this movie, which is sweet.
Well, I always like imagine if I were to get in a fight, I wish what it would look like would be the Raid. I'm pretty sure what it would look like are like those drunken video fights you'd see at bars, like the people like video record, but it would probably like land somewhere in between that and like the Harrison Ford fight in most of his movies, which I think is honestly fair. Like when you see him and Gary Oldman fighting at the end, it would have been so inappropriate if they busted out like respective martial arts from their countries.
Oh yeah, dude, Ford like Superman punches one of the terrorists around a corner at one point. he rounds the corner and like launches his body. I was like, man,
he accidentally like shoots his head. Like he's like scared of what his MP5 does and kills someone is also one of my favorite things in this movie. But he's sweet. He's really good in this.
This movie's great. So, guys, this is the greatest movie ever made. We're going to be talking all about this. We have a very good show for you guys today. It's stacked. We got two generals calling in. We have later on in the show, Callsign Cash, Callsign The Director, both calling in to talk about this movie. Very excited about that. We have a bunch of cool stuff to talk about. Some brand new generals in the last week. We have a brand new 5-star general and Nikki Therese.
Yeah, huge
big time
shout out to Nikki Therese. I felt so bad yesterday that I wasn't here to because I know you were announcing some stuff with Action Worldwide and all that. Nikki Therese was one of the 5-star generals that helped push us, along with Jeff Alterman, who also just became a recent 5-star general, push us over that kind of edge to get to that first goal, which I can't believe we hit it. But yeah, huge shout out to generals, 5-star generals, Nikki Therese and Jeff Alterman. Callsign quiz show. Salute to you guys. And also, we got some new generals. 2 new generals in the last few days. One yesterday, which is one of the reasons I left rehearsal to come in here, was Nicole Krafik. So big time salute to Nicole. And also Will McLean is back.
Will
Die Hard himself.
Rejoined the ranks of generals. We love that. I love that McLean is back. Oh, is that what we're calling him?
I feel like we should call him Callsign Die Hard. It's pretty sweet. It just came to me.
That's amazing. You just wrote a beautiful song with your
it was very easy. It was very easy. I was also going to say I had one more. I feel like we could just unofficially give Ferris Callsign Honey Badger because he's resilient. That's a resilient kid, man. We all give him so much crap. And the fact that he was one of the first call signs and we still have yet to give him an option to change between Whiskers and Meowthana, which he hates both of. I'm gonna give him an honorary call sign Honey Badger. But we won't write it anywhere. And if we both forget it, I'm okay with it. Is that fair?
Is it fair? Let's see what he does with it. Let's see how he reacts to it. But yeah, we have Nicole Krafik and Will McLean Callsign Die Hard now. We are working on the rest of the call signs because one of the big announcements, and Drew, if you look in the outline here, there was a question that I kind of had. It's right after we list the generals here. And it was something I was talking about on air as far as kind of these programs and what we were going to put in the programs. What I was saying to people is that guaranteed 100%, everybody in the month of June that's a general, 5-star general commander-in-chief level, you will all see of your names in the program for sure. And I was kind of a little bit loose on the rest of that, and I wanted to kind of chat about it with you. But obviously we can talk about it at a later time as well.
Actually, so if you could send the link to StreamYard to the director, that'd be a great idea. And I'll actually just cover this next little piece. I think what we'll do is we're going to tier it. Now, what we do, and if you guys go to Playhouses, which I've been to like 2 in my life, and I think maybe one of them had this, so maybe I'm completely talking out of my ass. But I'm pretty sure in most places there's like levels of people that contribute to, foundations, levels of donators, things like that. Maybe you get a park bench, maybe you get a plaque. Maybe you just get a brick. I think there's a brick in Salem, Oregon around Shirley Elementary that has my name on it somewhere. But anyway, I digress. I think we should do different tiers. I think we should do the brick tier, man. I really want to lead into the brick tier. Honey Badger play no shit. So apparently Ferris is a little bit more excited about it, but I was just kidding, Ferris. That's never going to be you're Meowthana or Whiskers. No, I'm just okay. My point is, yes, I think we'll have commanders in chief, 5 stars.
Yeah.
Generals, and I think captains, and that's probably where we have to cap it. And it's not because of any other reason that the next tier has over 150 patrons. So like, instead of giving you guys a book at a live event, we're going to have to still give you a program. And I think if we were going to try to pay tribute to every sergeant and below, it would just become absurd. So I think if we do through June, the end of June, the beginning of July, anyone that is, because technically we hit it at the end of May, but let's say we give it a full 30-day window. That way, anyone that's a captain or above can get inside the programs for Action Live, which I'm excited about. I really am just excited to have a program for something we're doing. The first one was very unofficial. We had Penguins and Guineapples, which, that's
still
a
around.
thing.
People still like.
There's still a thing. Those are still something that you and I bought that are sitting in my storage unit in Culver City right now.
And probably disintegrating. They're probably
I'm pretty sure rats are eating them.
Melting. Yeah. No, but okay. So I'm glad that we're on the same page about that. I think that that's correct. We obviously love to reward generals and all the highest tiers as much as we can. But I think the captain tier is an incredibly important tier and one that we, are very, very honored to have as well. And I think that program should honor captains as well. So we will continue to, introduce as many cool things for every tier in the Patreon as we always have and always will. But I think for this one, for Action Worldwide, which is going to be such an exciting time for us, you guys will get those programs. And what I was saying yesterday on the show, Drew, is that, there'll be programs, they'll almost be like a merch item. It'll almost be, we'll commemorate them, probably pictures of us with silly hats, all your different hairstyles from the month of June. A lot of things like that will probably
that's funny. That's funny. Real funny there. So people are talking about my audio going in and out, going up and down.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I heard that happened a little bit at one point during the CRL broadcast today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
And I'm very curious about it because, Zach just said it here. The volume thing happened during the CRL thing today. It happened at one point. There was one point when the actual server cut out. But then I'm wondering if I'm moving too much and going too far and close, if it's just something wrong with my mic, which would not be good. So I don't know. We need to see full ups and downs. See, this is interesting. I wonder, are you hearing it?
I heard it on the stream yesterday, just a little bit when you popped in, but nothing yet today.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Let's go. Let's get into the movie. Let's talk Air Force One.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's going to be a great show today. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up. We're going to be talking about all the things, the fist bump moments. We have a Nicolas Cage lost audition tape that is from 5 years ago. We're gonna look at that guy.
Yes,
have a little bit of conversation. Have a little bit of a conversation about the sequel or a reboot, things like that. And the calls and the call-ins we talked about. So I think we should watch the trailer first, right? Or have we stopped doing that because of copyright strikes?
No. I'm happy to fight one at a time. It's just when we did our action guys last week and we had like 7 of them, and it was like legitimately 7 of them. I felt like that was a battle that we should probably just walk away from.
Yeah, I think
so. I did.
Tonight I come to you with a pledge to change America's policy.
Oh,
I love that he speaks Russian. It's like so sweet that he speaks Russian. It's so like intimidating.
I know. Why is it so quiet? It's like 1997. Is that why?
Maybe, yeah.
Should I find a different trailer?
What are the risks involved?
Maybe.
This is trailer 1. Here, we'll pull a different one. What's that?
I said it's a movie clips classic. Often those are the best ones. I have no idea why it's so quiet.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe this one will be better. Let me see if I can.
Callsign quiz show. The trailer strikes from last week were so worth it for the laughter.
Yeah, trailer strikes
also from the Shake Weight
really
video.
Good time.
The Shake Weight video is so good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. All these trailers suck. They're really quiet.
Huh.
Hold on. There's got to be a good one. Oh, I think I found one. All right, we'll try this one out. Even if it's not a real trailer, but I guarantee you it'll get copyright flagged no matter what. So that makes it legitimate. All right, here we go. It's just a scene. I think it's just a scene. No. Yeah, we can't do it. There's no trailer, man. Unless we want to watch a quiet one and listen to it like this.
Intently.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I would listen to a quiet one, but we also don't have to. We kind of know what these trailers are like.
Okay, yeah. Let's skip this one. I feel like we got Cash and the director hanging out. What I do want to do though is talk about the first segment really quickly, or should we save the 20-year conversation for after we do something else? Just because we got these guys hanging out. What do you think?
No, I think we should start. It's an important way to start the show, and those guys are cool. I mean, they're watching. They're still watching the show.
Are they cool, man?
They're very cool. I can see
they're giving us they're flipping us off. No, wait, those are thumbs up. My bad. Okay.
Yeah, I think we start with the first segment of the show. And the first segment of the show is that we ask the question of, will this movie be getting talked about, getting watched in 20 years? Obviously this movie is from a little while ago at this point, 23 years ago it came out. So, are we looking at the, 4 or 5 years after it came out? Is this still going to be a thing? Before you answer that question, I don't know if you look at the chat here, because
look, man, I'm busy right now. Okay, I got other things going on. I got a whole business that I'm running here on the side. So why don't you just continue living your life, and I'm gonna continue living mine? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. No problem. I'll just keep talking. I'll just keep doing my job.
Look, man, just shut up. All right, just shut up.
I can't hear anything, but you're dancing. That's great.
Oh, playing in the wrong one. It's all right. Let's try that again. Man, that's gonna be embarrassing. Do you hear that? God, please.
Yes, I
can. Oh no, it's gone. All right.
Oh, that was amazing.
I'm sweating.
So for now, Sex Wedge is the only information we have.
Honestly,
just in general. You can see here also with the super chat. So excited to see that. Hashtag Team Bateman. Love that. Welcome to Team Bateman.
Stupid. I think hashtag or Callsign Sex Wedge isn't bad though, so I'll give him half the points that he deserves. But big time salutes to you, man. Welcome to being a general in the Action Army. I don't like that I was dancing without the music playing on your guys' end.
It's maybe one of the funniest things that's happened. When you go back to watch it, it's really special.
I enjoyed myself. I'm never gonna watch it.
I knew what you were doing.
I know you do, because you always do it. I wish that you would give me a second instead of every time the general signs up, you're like, hey, Drew, guess what? I'm like, I fucking know, man. Give me 2 minutes to pull up the song. And you're like, oh, and then you get me dancing live there to no music. That's what you've been planning all along.
Look at the chat. They are so excited about it. All right. Anyway, back to the question of, will this movie be getting watched, getting talked about in 20 years? That is the question that we're going to start with today, Drew. What do you think?
I think that I hate you, Ben. And look at this. Look at these things. Look at these things these people are saying. How do you know pride?
Very excited.
So I think it's really interesting because I'll be honest, when I texted you about this movie when it started, I had forgotten that we were going to do this segment. I just like I don't know, it's been a long day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the idea that we were going to talk about it, and the idea that what I sent you, because basically what I sent you is when I grew up, in my mind, American presidents were kind of like heroes. I'd heard all these stories about the Revolutionary War and Lincoln and Washington, and like, I love this movie. This is the first R-rated movie I ever watched with my mom, right? So,
yeah,
it's funny because I was talking to my girlfriend about this. I was like, "Did you feel this way growing up?" She's like, "No. What are you talking about? Like, Bill Clinton was the president when we were like younger, and like that whole thing happened. Remember all that?" And I was like, "It's a solid point. It's a solid point." But for me, they just always been incredibly romanticized. So when I watched this movie, it's interesting because Harrison Ford's a pretty sweet president. And it's also like a superhero president. And it's really odd because I think we've already seen a shift in film where the president would never be the superhero anymore. He would always be protected by the superhero Secret Service agent, i.e. Angel, or a la Angel Has Fallen, Olympus Has Fallen franchise. I just now can't ever imagine with the way that our country is kind of the position it's been in over the last, let's say 12 to 20 years, and the people that have run America, it seems kind of crazy to ever think of seeing another presidential action hero movie. Do I think this movie will be talked about in 20 years? I don't really think it will. I think it'll be reflected upon when you're discussing Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman's career. It's kind of a bummer because I actually think this movie's great. And I think Wolfgang Petersen is really underrated. And I also think that Ford is elevated by Oldman as an actor in this movie. I think that scene that they have in the control deck, the flight deck or whatever the hell you call it, is amazing. But that being said, I don't think it would ever really be appropriate to hail this movie as anything other than a sweet action movie with Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. Again, with what's going on politically and like racial climate wise, it's like, or racially, you know what I'm saying, with the racial climate. Having a movie celebrated about a white savior president that saves the world and like punches his way to freedom. It doesn't need to be that. Let's just look at this for what it is, which is a kick-ass action movie with Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. That is like also like da, 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 da. The music in this movie is so hilariously patriotic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think it's a Jerry Goldsmith score because I'm pretty sure I heard it and I was like, this feels like a Star Trek movie or something. And then I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I think that this movie will be talked about in 20 years, and I think the reason is because of Harrison Ford. Now, I don't think it'll get talked about, like, it's not going to be as famous or more famous than it is now. But I actually think some of the absurdity of the idea of what you just talked about, some of the absurdity of there being like this white savior president who like punches his way to freedom. And not that I actually think that's the intention of the movie, but I just mean if you were to try to take this movie as like a historical document, like why would this movie stay relevant? The whole idea of that and like him punching his way to freedom is kind of so absurd and getting more absurd every year that I actually think this movie becomes almost satirical and more relevant in some ways as we go, because they won't make this movie again. They won't make another one of these movies. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that Harrison Ford, when he's hailed, you know, all time as perhaps the biggest movie star ever for his characters, which he might be. I mean, he is two of the most famous characters that have ever been in a movie.
I'm sorry. I'm like stupidly grinning here because every time that I see Callsign Quiz Show say something about a movie, I want it to be like he just answered a question in Jeopardy and is about to pick the next category. So he could be like, also, yes, it's a Jerry Goldsmith score. I'll take NFL on Mondays for 400, Alec. Every time he types anything, I want that to be what the last part of his sentence is.
My favorite.
All right. Sorry. Please continue.
Yeah. So I think the sort of satirical nature of this movie will keep it relevant in that way. And I also think that when you look back on Harrison Ford's career, the really interesting thing is, so if right now today we were to rank Harrison Ford's 10 most famous movies, 3 of them are Indiana Jones movies. 4 of them really are Indiana Jones movies because even though the 4th one's bad, it's still very famous.
And about to be 5 of them, I think, right?
Yeah, you have at least 3 Star Wars movies, plus, you know, he shows up in 2 more technically. So that's really famous. Most of the rest of the stuff in his career that was really big at one time or another is totally completely irrelevant at this point. He's not really in many other movies that have lived on. Like He never
The
won
Jack
an
Ryan
Oscar.
stuff doesn't really feel that way. He never won an Oscar. Yeah.
He was never nominated for an Oscar.
Well, that's
People
another
talk
thing I
about
was thinking
Witness,
about
Jack Ryan.
was like in the scenes, it feels like when Gary Oldman's with Harrison Ford and he's like pushing around and stepping on his head and pushing his face against the wall and spitting on him. I wonder if at the time, like Harrison Ford's like, yeah, this guy's good, but like, careful, man. I'm Harrison Ford, you know?
Yeah.
And then to go on, it's like, yeah, well, he's Gary Oldman. He's actually going to be one of the greatest actors to ever do the deal. He's going to win an Oscar very soon. Well, not very soon, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean he's unbelievable. The Fugitive and Blade Runner, I guess, are the other two that are listed here, and they're very famous, right? My point is that there are so few that have really lived on with any significance. I just think the line "Get off my plane" is enough and is memorable enough for most people that I actually think this movie will live on for that, just for the humor of having Harrison Ford say "Get off my plane."
Well, dude, actually, I think that's a perfect moment to bring on our first general. I'm going to bring on Callsign Cash first. I saw him pop in first because that's a great fist pump moment. And I think that's when we always try to bring on the generals or for the fist pump moment. If you don't know what the hell a fist pump moment is, that's the moment in a movie where something happens. You look around, you're like, are you seeing this? This is you literally physically fist pump your hand in the air because something so badass just happened. Yes. You want to call your friend. You want to text your friend. You want to yell at your girlfriend across the house. You want to get your dog and dance with them. All right, maybe that's mainly all me. I think those are literally all things that I do during fist pump moment, but maybe you do too. So Callsign Cash, General, salute.
What's up, fellas? Can you hear me?
What's going on,
Cash? Why are you wearing a hat? No one on the show wears hats, man. It's disrespectful to wear hats when you're on air.
Nope, I'm going to wear hats as much as I want.
All right. Yeah, no, it's an inside joke from the General's bunker in case you guys don't get it. I don't know if you're actually there yet, Ben. So Callsign, what's your fist pump, man?
You guys just brought it up. I say his most iconic line. For me, when I think Harrison Ford, I think, get off my plane.
I don't think I love you. I know. I don't think of anything that Indiana Jones has ever even thought.
For me, it's get off my plane.
I knew it was coming for 2 hours, and it was still awesome when it happened.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I watched it last night. As soon as he says, I went, yes.
Well, okay, so this is what I was saying earlier about Oldman elevating Ford, is that like Oldman sets him up so many times to have such great moments, because right before this, what does he do? Oldman has this whole speech about like winning and no matter what you do, you lose, I win, no parachutes, no one to fly the plane, everyone dies, General lives, like, and then what does Ford have to do? Get off my plane. And it's fucking great.
Yeah, I also love that like this movie has a lot of the 90s Hallmark like situation movie moments. So okay, so like that's something you and I talked about a lot, Drew, when we started AMA, was the whole situation movie moment, like where you have like the hero qualifier, he's on the plane, he's our best hope. One of the situation moments that happens in a lot of these movies is that when finally you cross a certain threshold of the movie, there's a bunch of idiots in a control room cheering. Something happens and there's a bunch of people cheering, and so they're like, we've retaken the plane. Everybody's like, ah! And like, but the pilots are both dead, and it's leaking fuel, and no one knows how to fly it, and a bunch of people have died. But let's cheer like we just won the fucking Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, because they do it over and over and over in the movie. It never gets. Which one do you stop caring? Which one for you guys is where you're finally just like, just end the movie, please, God, end the movie, or does that not ever happen?
I can't remember the character's name, the Secretary of Defense. That guy was pissing me off. Like he was trying to tell the Vice President of the United States what to do. And I'm like, you're a heel. That's what he was for me. He was a heel.
Yeah, he's a shit weasel. You had to have one on the air and one on the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, well, everybody just relax here, Barbara. I'm in charge. That guy.
Yeah.
Catherine. This is a military situation, so I take precedence.
Like, the buck stops here. All right. Callsign Cash. Wow, there's a alarm or fire truck going off behind me. Is there anything else about this movie that you want to discuss? Do you think it's going to be around in 20 years? Is there a favorite line you want to get out of the way? I'm going to mute myself.
No. Well, in 20 years, yes. Because of Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman, I think this role is one of his best as well. Because when I think Gary Oldman, I think this one. And another thing about this movie that I didn't realize until I watched it last night, it feels like Die Hard on an airplane.
That's exactly what it is.
So.
It's exactly what it is. I mean, that was the entire like formula for these movies that got created around this time. Was everybody was just trying to ape Die Hard on a bus, Die Hard on a plane, like because it was so popular.
Die Hard in a tunnel, Die Hard anywhere. It literally it worked.
But when the plane crashes in the water, those graphics.
Yeah, there's actually a couple moments of graphics that I want to talk about. The plane crashing in the water I find slightly more forgivable, and I'll talk about that. But there's another moment early on that even as a kid, I was like, what is this? What? Come on. And that was when I was like 10. So Callsign Cash, General, big time salute to you, brother. Thanks for stopping by as always, man.
Salute to you, Cash. Thanks for coming, man. Good to see you, Brandon.
Guys.
Yeah, great to see you. Stay safe, bro. And next up, Callsign the Director. This is actually a first-time meeting for me. I haven't met the director yet. I don't know if he's been in the bunkers, but I haven't been there recently because I've been so busy.
Yeah, it's Alan Smithy. He's here, which I'm very excited about. Very excited to see him in here. So let's bring him in.
How you doing, man? Salute.
Yo, guys. Team action.
Yes, dude. You've got the music playing. I love it. You got the
I don't want to
aviators
get
on.
sued for copyright, so I turned it off. But you know,
It's all right, man. We've already got a lot of claims in the works. I've gotten very good at disputing them.
yeah, don't go after Saturday Night Live. They go crazy on you.
Dude,
guys,
I knew the moment that we brought Saturday Night Live on, we were completely screwed. I knew it. And
Lorne
literally
Michaels
our stream got
on
down.
the other end, going like, "We have to get these boys and shut them down."
Yep. Lauren's all over us. So the director, first of all, salute. Great to meet you, man. On my end,
good to zoom you.
Yeah, good to meet you, as they say now.
Oh yeah.
What is your fist pump moment for Air Force One?
My fist pump moment is like the entire parachute escape sequence.
Yes.
That sequence is amazing, and it's loaded with sweet moments. Like my favorite to start with is when his like secretary is like flying by on the parachute with a big smile on her face, and you're like, yes, we're winning.
Because she has the brilliant idea about the fax thing, so you want to know she's safe.
Right. And you feel like this is the turnaround point where they're starting to win. They're not losing anymore. Yep. And then like the dude blows the door off with something he throws in there. He throws like a Coke can in there and he explodes the door off. And all these people go flying out, and you get that sweet shot of the guy going like, "Wah!" by the camera on his way to his doom. And then finally, that's when the tanker shows up above them. And I remember that in the trailer, that shot of both planes, and it's exploding into flames.
Yeah.
And the main fist pump moment in that moment is when you see Harrison Ford hanging off the back, and the whole plane is like blowing up behind him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's so believable to see Harrison Ford in all these situations. I don't know what it is about him. He's not like, he doesn't look that intimidating. He doesn't look that ripped, but like I see him hanging off a plane the same way you see Cruise doing it now. You're like, yeah, believe it. Believe it.
It's because he's a vulnerable guy. He's like Indiana Jones gets his ass kicked a lot, and he takes it. And you're like, that's a real guy. He's not like Arnold all the time where he's a super badass. He actually cries in this movie. Come on.
You know what? That's a good point, man, because he does. You know, there's only a couple of the. Actually, is there even a couple? Yeah, I guess there's the couple at the end that kind of just get quickly taken out by the MP5 that Ford's carrying. But otherwise, he really goes back and forth and dukes it out and kind of gets his ass kicked by every one of the henchmen along the way.
Yeah.
But he wins.
Totally.
He does. Yeah.
He fought the same, like that guy that plays the big German in Raiders is also the guy that plays the big dude in Temple of Doom. And he keeps fighting that guy. You know? That guy comes back multiple times.
I mean, Ford definitely like there's a sweet hero qualifier in this movie that gets you set up really well early on in the control room. When the one guy's like, "Let's not forget, the president flew more helicopter missions under my command than any other soldier. Trust me, Medal of Honor, he knows how to fight." Right? Then he's like, if he's up there, he's our best hope. And you're like, okay. You're like, I'm in. I'm so ready for this.
Harrison Ford can fly so many different things. It's just a question of whether he'll actually land those things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if he'll land them and where he'll land them is the question up for grabs. So the director, do you have a favorite line from this movie? And also, do you think this movie will be discussed in 20 years from now?
Well, I think as long as there's an Air Force One in reality, this movie can definitely be revisited. And in 20 years, the new Air Force One will look like a space shuttle or something crazy like that. But, you know, plus, as we were discussing earlier, the controversial presidency we're in now, we're going to want to revisit this movie in the future just for the sake of going like, that's the president I want.
Yeah, right.
I mean, as a kid, you look at that and he's like, what does he say in the beginning? He's like, doesn't matter, Jack. It's right. And you know it. You know, and you're like, God damn it, you're right. That's some conviction right there.
So patriotic. He fights for what's right. Yeah.
And at the end, when they finally pull him into the second plane, and they've just seen him like hanging out, flying, he said, take everyone else first. And what do they do? They're like, boom, we love you. So.
Hell yeah. The director, man, this was amazing. This was a perfect call-in. I'm so glad that we covered a movie so early after you becoming a general that you could come on the show.
For having me on. And by the way, I asked Kate Mulligan about her Jerry B movies. So you got to ask her about that. She was in 2 Jerry B movies.
What?
Mulligan was in 2 Jerry B
movies?
One
of them is Gamer. I forget what the other one was. But she was also in like Crank 2 High Voltage. So
all right, I know who's coming on.
We got to get
action guys soon.
I mean, she was a little embarrassed, but she made it sound like she knows Jerry B. She wasn't just in the movie. She's like, she knows it, so.
Wow.
And she was keeping it secret from you guys this whole time.
That's why they call him the director. Callsign The Director. Great to see you, General.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Brother. Take care,
man.
Kate Mulligan knows Jerry B.
Knows Jerry B. Holy shit!
Holy shit! We gotta go. We gotta get there now. That was great,
asking
dude.
Me about coming on Action Guys. She's been asking me about.
Oh, really?
For a while. We got to get her.
Tell her that will never happen, or whatever her accent is.
Accent.
Yeah, look at this. What did I tell you? Quiz show? Should have a relationship with Neville Dean Taylor. I'll take uncooked pasta for 600.
I'm gonna start fact checking. I'm gonna start fact checking with Quiz Show. I'm just gonna start sending him messages anytime I need some. I'm fuck IMDb. I'm just gonna use Quiz Show.
I really feel like he could say anything at this point, and I would just put it into fact. I'd believe it.
And you're gonna believe him. Yeah,
100%.
Totally.
It's a ruse. It's been a ruse this whole time.
He's been planted here to fuck with you. Actually, he's been planted here by other factions to get you trusted.
All right. What's your fist pump, dude?
Oh man, there's a lot in this movie. I definitely got one when they were all cheering. I mentioned that moment because it's just so funny to me because I literally just watched Crimson Tide again, and it's like has a very similar moment when they crisis averted and everybody's cheering in the submarine. And I was just like, man, these situation movies are like a genre of their own, like situation thrillers, like situation political thrillers where there's like a big chain of command, like all kinds of people doing their jobs, and then like it's just there was just a lot of moments in this movie that made me feel like that. But Xander Berkeley in general for me in this movie is a huge fist pump moment. Him, dude,
really like this is the definition. Like if you were to teach a class on being a shitweasel, Xander Berkeley.
When he goes in the beginning and he's like, hey Tom, hey Ted, and he like goes in, he like copies the papers, and he's like, so this is a breakdown of the thing, and he's like, boop, 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 yep, boop, and he like does the three silencer hits, and then he just like puts the papers down and calmly walks away. You're like, holy shit, this is getting so real so quickly. Yeah, that is a fist pump. And then I'll tell you the other fist pump for me that this time that really got me was when Oldman finds out from his henchmen that they lost the president, that he's not on the plane. He doesn't even say something that I understand. He goes, he goes, we lost the president. He wasn't in the pod. And Oldman's eyes, and he goes, ah! his voice kind of cracks, and he just screams.
And you're like, I don't know what language he's speaking, but he's fucking pissed, dude.
You're like, God, he's so intense.
He's so good. Oh, dude, there's a okay, first of all, Wolfgang Petersen should be a better director than he is. I'm sure his career is pretty ugly when you really look at it under a microscope, but dude, he threads the needle on this one. It's so incredible. There's a moment, the sequence, or maybe it was just because he had the 90s locked in. The sequence when he's like, relax, Catherine, I'm in charge here. And then the guy comes in, he's like, Mr. Secretary, Madam Vice President, all compromised nuclear law codes have been changed. We have new codes. And it shows the handcuffed briefcase. I was like, oh, yes. Handcuffed to the briefcase? That's curious. And then after that, it goes right into the Gary Oldman speech about like what Russia needs and like what he wants when he's actually speaking to the vice president.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Ford still being on the plane. They find the empty pod and then Ford's on the plane. That whole sequence happens in 10 minutes. And it's so good. It's like it's filmmaking at its best, dude. It really is.
I agree. It's super cinematic. It's incredibly suspenseful. It's very compelling. Glenn Close is phenomenal in this movie.
She really is.
She's a great vice president. But yeah, I love all the things you're talking about. Also, one thing that is really funny to me about this movie, when you and I came up with a bunch of the rules for Action Movie Anatomy, when we came up with the show, the thing we did was we made a big list, and it was, what are the things that show up in the movies we want to talk about? Because at the time it was going to be 80s and 90s, basically action movies. And it was like, what are the things that are common to all these movies? And we wrote a bunch of things down. 3 of the first 5 on the list were silencers, red dot lasers, and C4.
Yep.
All 3 of them show up in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
They show up in the first 2 minutes of this movie, basically. when they capture General Radek, I remember as a kid just being like, holy shit, they hit a ball, jackpot.
The guy is fucking parachuting in with a gun with a silencer on it with
Night
the red
vision.
dot laser, and then night vision, and then they use a C4 on the door. It's like, whoa!
Flashbangs, smoke grenades, a clean exit. Even one of them gets shot on the way out, and they still keep him. That no man left behind. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It's tactically brilliant.
It's tactically brilliant and sound. Speaking of things that are tactically brilliant and sound, let's check out our Streamlabs. That was a segue if I've ever seen or heard one. First one here from Sex Wedge, which we already got, just became a general. # Team Big time salute to you. Next one here we got from Cody Seal, also a 5-star general. Says that reminds me in the bunker. You guys said he was the only fighting president, and I forgot to say Jack Lemmon and James Garner in My Fellow Americans. Okay, fair. It's fair. Isn't that common?
Yeah.
And then the last one here, also from General Philip Gustafson, who got that fresh new haircut. He says Gary Oldman feels like the kind of actor you'd actually be scared of when you were in a scene with him. Yeah. So that scene when Oldman cries that the director was referring to, or excuse me, when Ford cries, is after another just serious outburst, outrage, tantrum, psychotic moment from Oldman where he's throwing him around and kicking him and spitting him and stepping on his head and throwing his head into the control panel, all of that. And then he threatens his daughter. I don't know if I've ever seen Harrison Ford actually act better than in that moment. I'm sure there's definitely better moments in his career, but he's really believable. And I teared up. I straight up teared up.
Yeah.
The cut between him and his wife, and the idea of how much conviction he has to not do it, and then the immediate drop of just being like, I'll do it. I just love that that president to dad light switch that flips.
Yeah, I agree, because it feels like in that moment, what's going on is like, you're like, there's no way he's going to compromise the security of the country. He can't work with the terrorists. He's got to do this right. And then it's just like, count one. He's like, I'm not going to let you kill my family.
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna.
It's my daughter.
I'll do whatever you need. I'm gonna protect my daughter. Like, it doesn't matter how noble I am. I'm also a man. I'm a father. And like, yeah, it's he does a great job in that scene. I would totally agree with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So moving through the outline here, do you have the audio pulled up for that Nick Cage interview, or do you have it?
It's in the outline actually.
Down here. Okay.
On the thing. Yeah. It's the exact moment is right.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I was looking for a hyperlink. Do you want to do that when it's up in the outline? Do you want to cover some of this other stuff first, like where these guys are at in their career?
We can do whatever. I'm looking at my video on the screen. I'm like watching along here to make sure it works. It seems a little glitchy. Is it a little glitchy to you?
No. It looks all right. It's
pretty clean.
It's a little glitchy. A little bit.
Yeah. Such a bummer. I really need to keep working on this because I really thought I'd crack the code here.
Hey man, well, if there's anything we've learned, this is the best place to keep trying to learn because our fans love seeing it, and you and I are just going to keep trying it out. So just keep troubleshooting, bro. I've gotten pretty good with some of my stuff. Also gotten sweet. Yeah. So let's all right, let's talk about where they're at in their careers then really quick. So they're both actually kind of superstars if you think about it, but it feels like Harrison Ford is exponentially more famous than Gary Oldman. So Ford here does The Fugitive in 93, Clear and Present Danger in 94, and Sabrina in 95, which you look at that and you're like, okay, yeah, you're the lead in all 3 of these movies. You know, one of them is an Oscar movie. Sabrina's like a lot of people's favorite rom-coms. I watched that with my sisters growing up. And then Clear and Present Danger, that's Jack Ryan, right?
Yeah. Oh, he'd been having a great run. He was definitely crushing. I think the difference.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
I was at the time they're making their movies here, you know, they're both very famous. And if you look at like the later part of the 80s, like, you know, Harrison Ford's working with like Peter Weir, and he's going and doing movies like The Mosquito Coast and Working Girl, and he's continuing to like assert himself as like a very, very bankable, very well liked actor. But he's definitely trying to get away from the franchise stuff, because so much of the 70s and the 80s, it's like Star Wars and Blade Runner and these movies that are, you know, so rooted in that. Whereas Oldman, he really comes on the scene as like really good at playing crazy and intense. That's basically the reputation he gets. So you look at the stuff that he's doing right before this, he's just a crazy guy in every single movie. Every movie.
Yeah.
He's like right, True Romance.
And like he's been a bad guy. He's just a bad guy over and over and over. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why he doesn't feel as famous as Ford is, because Ford's a good guy. You always want to root for him. So yeah, go ahead and go run through these movies that he does in 3 years leading up to this.
Yeah, and it's a big list, right? He in 1993 he does True Romance. He plays Drexel, one of the craziest characters I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, insane.
He's literally a white, black, Rastafarian. I don't know, drug dealing.
He described it as, when he did the character, and this is like 1983. He was playing a white guy that distinctly thought he was black.
That's what exactly. I was like, I know there's something that he said specifically. It's a crazy role, but the thing is he's Gary Oldman, so like you believe it, right? Like you 100% are like, I'm right. I mean, if anyone's gonna pull it off, it's gonna be this guy.
Yeah, whatever the fuck he even meant at the time, whatever that even means in 1993, that's what he goes for. It's a weird character, and he's great.
Very weird.
The next year, he's in Leon, which is, you know, I think at this point, I would definitely say is a pretty overrated movie. I think Leon is well liked. I don't think it's that good. He's great. He's definitely the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he is.
And then Fifth Element, obviously, he plays another crazy character. And I mean, you continue, if you go to the movies before this, in State of Grace, which I think is maybe also 93, possibly, he's also insane. He and Dracula right before that.
Well, we've seen this happen to actors many times before, where it's like, if you get pinned as a guy that's really good at doing this certain thing, we're going to have you do that thing over and over and over. It's really only the ones that get a great opportunity based off of luck and maybe a great management team that you're like, all right, I get this one kind of these few chances throughout my career to kind of show you I can do other things. And then you have to hit it out of the park on those other things. Because if you don't, you're like, I don't want to see you in a rom-com, dude. Harrison Ford. I don't want to see you as Sabrina, or in Sabrina, not as Sabrina, in Sabrina. I want to see you as Indiana Jones, you know? And I don't know if Harrison Ford's the best example, but I don't think his rom-com run was really anything noteworthy, you know?
No, I mean, he's in like, did you ever see Random Hearts? Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Okay. That was he's
what women
one
want?
Of those movies.
You've got mail. She's got mail.
She's got mail. Yeah, she's definitely got poison. Yeah, she's got mail. Yes.
Yeah. So good. All right. So yeah, that's where they're at in their careers. But let's talk a little bit about what else is going on this upcoming week. We got the general debate. And honestly, usually when we talk about the general debate, we're trying to get more and more submissions. But this is also the idea that we were looking at when we started the general debate, is there's going to be too many people submitting, because we got too many people for this one. It's the greatest trilogies of all time. We're doing it this coming Thursday. Same time, same place as always. It's going to be right here on the channel starting at 7 p.m., right?
7 p.m. Thursday, June 4th. It's 2 days before my birthday. I turned 32 on that Saturday. We're going to be doing shows. I got to figure out actually shows. What are we doing on our shows for the weekend? I got to figure that one out with you. But definitely the debate is 7 p.m. Thursday, June 4th. We've gotten submissions, but we haven't confirmed anyone yet. Yep. Remember, on the first of the month, what happens with the general debate? Well, there's a couple of things that happen. First of all, Andrew has to start wearing his hair like a jackass on every show that he's on.
I've got a lot of hair to look like a jackass with.
He lost.
You see this?
It's a good mane.
This is not the green screen, man.
You look good, Dutch.
You look good, Dutch.
So he's going to be doing his hair like a moron, which is great. I can't wait for it.
Stop saying that word. It's offensive to certain groups of people that have to have their hair look like mine for a month.
And if you guys ask how that happened, because Team Guy lost in the general debate last month, that was my thing. We're gonna have to come up with a new thing for the month of July after June. But how it works is on the first of the month, Paul Denuzio, PLD, who also MCs the show, who we got here. You can jump on here to talk about this with us for a second. PLD gets to come on and he gets to basically introduce the show. He will know which of you are on Team Bateman and which of you are on Team Guy, but we don't get to know. And you guys come on, you do your intros, you do promos, and then you debate the topic, which in this case is going to be what is the greatest movie trilogy of all time. Drew and I were the judges. We don't know who we're voting for. And in the final round, the winner will either be on Team Bateman or Team Guy and gets the first point of the month.
That's right. And I've been making the suggestions now. I'm piecing people back and forth. Some people are going to be very upset when they find out they're going to have to go for Team Bateman. I'm interested to see if they're going to actually, is it going to affect them that they have to fight for Team Bateman? Can they actually do it still? We'll see. I have to see how that goes.
There was a lot of fire on this one last month. I really was impressed after the last debate. I loved looking at the chat. There was controversy. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. Drew does not look happy.
I feel like you guys are selling something that's profiting off of my life insurance policy. That's what I feel like is happening right now. I feel like I'm literally listening to you guys be like, and then when he dies, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be really cool for everyone. I hate all of you. And yeah, great. Thanks, Commander in Chief. Feels real good to see that as well. I want to know a couple things. First of all, have you already made the lists of who's on Team Bateman and Team Guy? Take this down.
I have not finished it yet because I want to inform Alex and Lucas of how they have to switch up the chats. Because we do have those chats, and of course, Alex is off on her team after they lost. So I think
she went off, but she didn't start the chat till the day before.
That's true.
That's like showing up to a meeting late and then screaming at everyone for being late. It's a perfect Team Guy move. I love it. But I want to win though when we do shit like that.
Drew, when you are debating against me, you get to play the heel guy. But when I'm debating as a representative of Team Action, I also get to be a heel guy. So when I went against Brendan in the Schmobates thing, it was so much fun. I was turning the knife. I was making argument after argument and just like smiling at him, just grinning so hard.
I bet he was like I bet he was burning inside. Okay, PLD, last question before we let you go about this whole list thing with the general debate. Are you going to tactically make these groups now? The first time it was completely random, and you know what? We never even said it had to be a rule that is completely random moving forward. So I want to know, are you pulling some strings or are you sticking to the code?
I want to try to pull some strings and see if I'm going to make some magic happen because we randomly is good for some reasons, but let's see if we can get a little fire going.
I'll be honest. I've gotten DMs from people that I've gotten one DM from one person that won calling out one other person that won. So I think there's only been two. And it's pretty tough. I don't know who sent the message about the other one, but I know that they want matchups. So just a thought there, something to look into. But PLD, big time salute to you, brother. Always good to see you, man.
Always good, man. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Cheers.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for coming on. No, I'm really excited.
There's a whole goddamn conspiracy going on around here, and I know it.
I'm really excited for this next one. I've enjoyed the first two. Our first two winners are Callsign Sunshine and Callsign Deja Vu. Both have done an incredible job. Really, really, really good. So if you guys are interested in that and you're generals in the Action Army, send an email to actionindustriesbrand@gmail.com. We will review all submissions. We even are taking submissions from people who are not at the general level because we are considering it. For this one, we've gotten quite a few, but if you're interested and you think it'd be great to argue what is the greatest movie trilogy of all time, send in your submission to actionindustriesbrand@gmail.com and let us know because we can't wait to have you guys on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So let's keep on moving through the show. This was directed by Wolfgang Petersen. This is a guy that I like to talk about, throughout the show, just because I think he's actually really kind of understated as a director. You know, he got famous for doing Das Boot. That's kind of like the thing that people talk about Wolfgang Petersen for doing, and that's like it. And I think I saw someone else in the chat say, you know, he got famous for Das Boot. This was his retirement film. But he had a lot of other good hits along the way. Do you think there's a reason why he never, because you look at this list, the last couple things he did, Poseidon, Troy. But before that, The Perfect Storm, people love that movie, or it was very popular when it came out. Air Force One, In the Line of Fire, I remember being pretty popular. Das Boot, Never Ending Story. Like, these are really, really well-loved movies. Why don't people talk about Wolfgang the same way that they talk about other, like, maybe cult directors that weren't ever on the level of like a Spielberg, but maybe on like a Reitman level.
I think probably number one, his movie that made him really famous in the States came after doing like something like 12 or 15 films in German.
Yeah.
And he was very well liked as a German filmmaker, but none of those movies and the rest of the movies he's made have actually had any impact in the US. So you never end up talking about half his career, right? He has a pretty limited career. Secondly, Das Boot is a movie that is famous, but is not a movie that ever gets discussed by like a younger film fan. That's like you have to work really hard to find someone who's seen that movie. Even I've never seen Das Boot.
I haven't seen Das Boot either. Quick, so then you start me he loves it.
Yeah,
I'm just I just made it up, but I'm sure he does.
But then you start to look at the rest of the stuff he did, and like, while Air Force One is like awesome in a cult way, like people love it as like an action movie. Perfect Storm is like a blockbuster of its time. Troy is like this big epic that's kind of overrated. Poseidon's kind of a fail.
Yeah, Poseidon's definitely like a fail.
In the Line of Fire is like a good thriller, but like he doesn't have that like Inception. He doesn't have that like Indiana Jones or like Neverending Story even is a very campy 80s movie.
But it's like the idea that you do have the Neverending Story and Das Boot to one director, it just feels like people should know his name a little better. That's all.
He was. I think there was a moment in his career when he did Troy, just before Troy, after Perfect Storm,
that he could have been.
I think also like you and I live in a world now where we see headlines about casting and who's attached to what project on Twitter and stuff like that. But if you think about like reading the trades, like reading Variety as an actual newspaper not like a trade in 2000, and they're like the director, Wolfgang Petersen, director of Air Force One, Das Boot, and Perfect Storm, is doing Troy, this huge epic. Like you got to figure at that moment he's one of the 5 biggest directors in the world. You got to figure he's a huge deal at that time.
I haven't seen it or the TV series sequel Das Boot, also called Das Boot, but I will take TV series based off film for 800, Alec. All right, so moving on through the outline here, this movie was, it was pretty successful. It came out at the right time. It was a very patriotic American movie released by New Line. It cost $85 million to make in July of 1997. It grossed $173 million domestic for an additional $142 foreign, for a grand total of $315 million made on this movie, which, in 97 for a movie that cost 85, that's a really strong return. And I think that speaks a lot to the star power of Harrison Ford at the time. Like, I don't think Gary Oldman is quite selling tickets in that way. I think you definitely get Gary Oldman fans that go to this movie for sure. But this is Harrison Ford we're talking about.
As the villain in the movie, the same way that like people would be excited to see like Michael Fassbender as a villain in the movie right now. Very well liked, very well respected. You could put as the star of the movie in 1997 and it would sell some tickets. But if you put Michael Fassbender as the villain in the movie and you put, Hugh Jackman, now we're just talking about X-Men movies, but Jackman or like somebody like him as the hero, that movie sells tickets.
How do you feel about Gosling being Wolfman? We didn't talk about, you and I haven't talked about that at all.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit on yesterday. I just don't know the mythology of Wolfman all that well. I love Gosling. I think it depends on the director you get.
Oh, we don't know the director yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Gosling is attached right now.
Okay, that's interesting.
This was the 5th highest grossing film of the year in 97. So it's a good, it's a good indicator worldwide of like where Harrison Ford was in 1997.
Yeah, 100%. And so here we go. We got 6.5 on IMDb. And Rotten Tomatoes got a 76 by top and a 66% by audience, which is actually kind of surprising that the critics give it a higher review than the audience does. Actually, very surprising to me. Why do you think that is?
I think it's an older movie, and I think that these ratings are not as accurate. I think it could be fluky. I really wouldn't know how else to explain it.
Okay. All right. Well, I got the clip here. I got it pulled up. So I'm gonna, I think, it looks like it's an AMA clip here from back in the day, from way back in the day. So
this was the first episode of AMA. This was from
I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna look good, Dutch.
You look great. This is 2015 and Drew and I were going to cover this movie. We were already big Nick Cage fans. And the plan was, what if we did like a fake audition tape of Nick Cage? And actually, this is kind of a fun thing for you guys that are watching, because Drew and I, just before all of the COVID stuff, we had this big production meeting about original content we wanted to start producing. And there was a couple ideas. One of them was basically a series based on this show. You guys are going to hear our like silly. It's pretty silly.
It's pretty silly.
It's really funny. But we did a good job with it, I think. But like this, what if you were to throw different actors into different situations? And there was another one we talked about we didn't get to do either because we stopped being able to be in the same room.
Yeah, there was like a lost audition tape series that we wanted to do. But yeah, we'll get back to it one day.
Oh, here we go.
This is good. I remember this, man. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring this up from here.
No, our producer? Oh, here we go.
State your name for the camera. Nicolas Cage, reading for the role of Ivan Karushna. All right, we'll just take it from the top. This is the vice president. With whom am I speaking? This is the man that controls it. I'm sorry, I gotta do that again. This is the vice president. With whom am I speaking? This is the person that controls Air Force One, the world's most secure aircraft. What is it that you want? We'll get to that. I need to know that the first family is safe. The president is safe. He ran from here like a weak dog. I'm sure you can't wait for him to get back and make a decision so you can stop sweating through that silk blouse of yours.
So gross.
Mr. Cage, we don't want it to sound like you're hitting on the vice president. Who's playing the vice president? Glenn Close. I know Glenn. He's great. Look at simple physics. Without fuel, the plane crashes. Everybody dies. Tell me what I want. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cage. Wait, I can do better.
That was great.
Awesome.
Holy shit, there he is in all of his round glory. We caught a well. Who's playing the president? Glenn Close. Oh, I know Glenn. He's great. That's the best line in the whole thing. I'm so proud. It does. It sounds a little bit like Gary Busey and Nick Cage had a weird child.
We thought it was really good at the time. We were really excited. The one we did later, the lost interview from last year, is a lot.
The lost
better.
interview was good.
That sounds a lot more like Nick Cage. The lost interview was like I think it's reasonably accurate. That one we just
like, hey man, I got an idea that's going to take like 30 minutes, and then it took us like 5-6 hours to like write it together and put it together. But it's pretty brilliant. We'll have to revisit that one day too.
I thought it was really funny.
All right, man. So it's only a couple minutes left on the show. Do you have a favorite line in this movie?
There's a lot. I like a lot of what is said by Gary Oldman. I definitely like when he's like, ah! I think that's a really good line. I think also when he I texted you the other night, your national security advisor has just been executed. I think that's pretty damn good line.
That's one of my favorite lines. I love the line. She's like, you're something in the rules of war. And he's like, you kill 100,000 Iraqis to lower the gallon of gas by 5 cents, and you lecture me on the rules of war. It's like, don't. He just freaks out. I love it because it's a great line.
Do you think that Oldman, when he's like at home with his children, and they're like, Daddy, I ate the last Cheerios. And he's like, I ate all the Cheerios. And he's like, ah!
I would hope not. I feel like that would be horrible for his children's mental health. But also, they might be like, Daddy, do that thing. And he's like, he does like the thing from Leon.
What if that sound he makes is actually just him being like, he uses the same reaction for everything? So his wife is like, sweetheart, I made your favorite dinner for our anniversary. He's like,
it would be unhealthy. I think my favorite line is actually also from him. It's kind of like that line. It's like kind of like a catty or like offhand line is when she's like, you said you'd let us go. He's like, I'm sorry, I lied. And he's like smiling after he gets the president for him. Like, fuck, dude, you're so good at being evil and also like knowing how to play with the dialogue. He's so good. Go ahead.
It's also a key Hans Gruber moment. So like, okay, so if Gruber is the like what a lot of these villains are based on,
right?
A lot of these villains
are the template.
A lot of these villains became like just like parodies of Hans Gruber. They all just wanted to be Hans Gruber, Lithgow and Cliffhanger. And so, but what happens with those characters is they're supposed to be as cunning as they are ruthless.
Ruthless.
And then there's always a moment that happens towards the end where he's like, you're just a thief. And he's like, but a brilliant thief. And you're like, oh, okay. So you actually are just simple. And with Gary Oldman, he's like, I lied. You know, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, he has no honor. He's the worst.
He is the worst. Like he's actually not, because you're looking for that redeemable quality, and you just can't find it. But Ben, I did find something else just a minute ago, and it was please God. Hey! Yes. Okay, good. I don't want to dance.
Ooh, it feels good.
Nothing happened. I just wanted to do that.
I'm going to go back and watch your clip of you dancing with no music literally as soon as we wrap the show.
I hope your computer breaks. Larry and Lindsay Payne upgraded from general to 5-star general. I am so
amazing
stoked to have another huge upgrade today. Dude, we hit our goal again. We're at our goal. We're past our goal. We are ready to do action live. Let's go. Let's go.
It's crazy. The level of generosity is mind-blowing. I can't believe it. I feel so fortunate.
Look at these
I feel
idiots.
so fortunate to have the support.
Trying to fool us? You guys can fool us? We're the smartest guys with technology that have ever run anything on the internet ever. Tunisia. Yeah, look at yeah, all right, Paul, calm down. Yeah. Literally, Paul's like, hey guys, I cannot be around today. This was yesterday. He's like, I can't be around today. I'm sorry. It's my brother's birthday. 3 hours after that text, I'm like, Paul, what's our YouTube login? What's our StreamYard code? Paul messaged on Facebook and texted him. And then like
what do we
4
do?
hours later, I'm like, did you message Paul to get his StreamYard info? Because I can't make the stream. You're like, oh no, I didn't. I was like, all right, Paul.
I don't know how that works.
Texted him as well. So Paul, thank God, you are the lifeblood of Team Action. But it's the generals, the 5 stars, and the commanders in chief that keep us going, along with Paul. But big time salute to you guys. What a crazy week. Jeff Alterman, Nikki Therese, and Larry and Lindsay Payne all becoming 5 stars. And then on top of that, we had the general upgrades from Sex Wedge.
We have
Will McLean.
I mean, a huge week, an incredibly exciting week, a crazy, crazy exciting week. You know what I'm going to make sure I do here while you're talking? You just talk for a second. You just
Callsign Die Hard. Are you going to write that down?
No, I'm just sometimes
if you turn on music and then it doesn't come on and I start dancing, I don't know how that would work. I'm going to be pissed off. Okay,
at the end of the show. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, what were you going to say?
At the end of the show, whenever we read our generals, what often happens, we read the full list, but we don't update the list live during the show. So the new generals get left out. Not going to happen today.
It only took us a year and a half to figure that out, but we're figuring it out, and that's all that matters. So one more thing that I want to plug really quickly, guys. CRL West is back. If you don't know what that is, it's Clash Royale League. A lot of the people in the army are getting in on the hype. We've got a clan. We actually do have a clan in Clash Royale. It's just called Action Army, so it's really easy to find. I know Paul's in there. I know Belford's in there. I think Sadi's going to get in there. I know Zach is in there. Who else is in there? Is Buck's in there? I know Jerry's in there. I think there's a handful. No, you're not allowed in there. I'm sorry, man. It's only for people that are actually good at the game.
I don't like my clan, and I still play, and I would like to join.
Well, you've been in the one with your work forever. You should do it. My alt was in there for a while, but I had to join one for work. But yeah, there's a Ben got booted out. Says PLD there. But no, you guys should join the clan. You guys should watch me on CRL West. It's Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 PDT or 1 p.m. Eastern, and check it out. Maybe it's not your thing, but at least stop by. Rich and I think do a really good job there, and the production's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll be doing that again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And I did our first one today, and it went pretty seamlessly, other than a couple audio issues. But yeah, man. So what were you doing? Oh, you were updating the generals list.
I was just making sure the list was accurate, but it's good to go now. Yeah. So I think talking about the last things on here, we already sort of mentioned the video, we listened to it. So it really means there's only one last thing left to talk about on today's show, and that's called The Pitch.
It's a good one. And this is going to be a good one because you and I almost covered this movie twice on Action Movie Anatomy because we're dumb.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really excited for next week's movie. Next week we're going to be covering Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I love that we're doing it because the first time we did it on Action Movie Anatomy, a couple things. First, doesn't feel like an action movie. Nope. So we were sort of trying to find our bearings, even though it was later in the show. Also, when we both saw it in theaters, neither of us loved it. And then since have both really come to love it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's what it's going to be. I almost said Once Upon a Time in Mexico, like I always do. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think it'll be fun because you and I were so excited to talk about it, and then we realized that we couldn't.
We had already done it. Yeah. It was a dumb thing. When we had the Liquor League party back in like January or February or whatever it was, we at the end of the night just were like hammered, started just putting scenes on from the movie on YouTube. We watched like all the funny scenes, basically, just like all of them.
Right.
Which was great. And it was like, yeah, this is great. I think you got sold on this movie fully that night.
That was the night. That was the night that won me over, was when we were watching all the clips. It definitely got me back on board. So really quickly before we go through these generals you're reading off, which list did you update? Because I don't see where that
I added them to the actual greatest movie ever made outline. I didn't add them to the, I mean, they will all get added to the list. Paul Denuzio is a legend, but to the one here, to this list.
And you have Nicole on here?
Outline. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to let you read through them because I don't know what list you're talking about because this one's got a bunch of gaps in it and I'm stupid. So why don't you go ahead and read here through the generals because I think that's the last thing we got to do on the show, right?
Yes. Before we do the big read off, I just do want to give everybody a quick reminder of a couple things that we are doing outside of this channel. Just take a quick minute for it and then we'll read off all of the generals.
Okay.
I have a big announcement coming next weekend. I talked about it last night on the stream over on my channel. I'm doing Nerds and Suits, youtube.com/Nerds and Suits. I'll be officially announcing the Patreon next Saturday, all of what that actually means. But I did tell you guys on the stream last night that I would be launching it. But more than that, there's a big creative announcement coming next Saturday that I don't even think you know, Drew. I don't think I've actually talked to you at length about it yet. So I will tell you when we're off. But I will be announcing it to everybody in the world next Saturday.
Oh, I thought you,
on my birthday, June 6th, I'll be doing a stream, a Nerds and Suits stream to announce it and do a bunch of other cool stuff. So check that out. My big goal when I launched was that by my birthday, I wanted to try to get to 2,000 subs. I know it was pretty ambitious for a new channel. And we're probably not going to get there, but if you're watching this and you like the stuff that Drew and I both do and you want to support, we've got like 1,600 and change right now. Go check out youtube.com/Nerds and Suits and hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. So you can tune into the stream next Saturday on my birthday when I will be announcing something very exciting. That's what I'm doing. Drew, talk to me about your channel real quick.
I mean, honestly, I think Clash just covers it right now. I don't think if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, I doubt my channel will be seeing much action at all over the next few weeks. At least maybe over the next couple while I'm trying to get things in order. But just follow me on Twitter. That's the best place to find everything that I'm doing. I try to stay up to date and try not to be too political on there. God, it's been tough lately, though. So stay safe out there. Hug your loved ones. Make sure to be empathetic towards those that you may not fully understand. I think it's really important, whether, whichever way that might lean. And I guess we'll be back tomorrow on the Action Guys. You and me. I think it's just going to be a two-man show again. We had so much fun last week. We were like, why don't we just do a few of these in a row? I think we might do a couple of these in a row. I guess maybe we could try to bring on Kate sometime soon now that we have a reason that she's got Jerry in the bag.
She's got Jerry in her pocket. She's going to bring him. Yeah. I'm really excited for tomorrow's show. So get excited. Show up at 5 p.m. tomorrow for the Action Guys. And without further ado, guys, our commanders in chief, Alex and Lucas Shashak, big time salute.
Salute.
We've got 5-star generals.
Callsign Sunshine had a sweet little note for you here.
He told me I talk about my birthday more than a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Callsign Sunshine. I don't know, man. He throws those daggers through those smiling teeth.
Yeah, he's going to be on Team Bateman next month. Don't you worry. There's no way I would ever allow Sunshine to not be on Team Bateman.
You have no control over that. You're a bad person to even insinuate that you have control over that. 5-star generals Larry and Lindsay Payne. Callsign Quiz Show, Paul Denuzio, John Getz, Jake Iacovetta, Ferris Muthana, the Honey Badger himself, Oscar Romo, Mac Ryan, Cody Seal, Callsign Kilmer, Nikki Therese, big time salute to Nikki Therese there once again. Steven Anderson, down into our generals, Steven Anderson, David Benitez, Callsign Coinless, Joseph Boros, the Ripper himself, Callsign Freedom, Pat Wolfmonte. No, that's Gibson.
No,
do we not have one for Wolfmonte?
And we do.
The Monty. Yeah, Callsign the Monty, Callsign Cashier, Ewood Bourlage, Glenn Caesar, Ryan Chandler, Paige Chowdhury, Mike Deacon and Bethany Curl, Tim Etheridge, Trevor Fast, and Ben. I'll let you take it after Callsign Freedom.
Callsign Freedom. We got Callsign the Goat. We got Callsign Sunshine. We got Kyle Grandinetti. We got Maddie Gunner. We got Philip Gustafson. We got Luke Marshall Haynes. We got Andrew Hayes. Callsign Party J, Fever Dream himself. Kelsey Kirkland. We got Callsign Danny Phantom. We got Nicole Krafik, Sari Laman Maki, Callsign Deja Vu, former champion. John Lestrina. We got Zach McDonald, Callsign Kyle. Callsign Die Hard, Will McLean. Garth Harkness McMurray. We've got JJ Monheim, Jose Montalvo, Callsign Jerry, Carl Newell, Anthony New. Nugent, Joaquin Oliveira, Callsign The Deliverer. We got Brandy Parker, Callsign The Pusher. John Patterson, Callsign The White Ghost. I got Danny Ramirez. We got Callsign 69, CJ Robinson, Eric Ritz, Callsign Sex Wedge, Callsign Canada, Tyler Schwent, Callsign The Director, and we got Tharshi, Sri, and Sergio Vieira Jr.
We really need to come up ones for Sergio and Jose because they signed up at like the exact same time. And I feel like we didn't pay any love to that group of generals that signed up in that week. I think there was like 2 or 3 of them all that have no call sign. And it's not that we don't love you guys. It's just we need to have the fever dream about you. That's really what it's all about.
There's call sign being worked on for everybody. We're working on them. They're coming still.
They really are. And just a few things that we did not cover here. Rats and King with a $3 donation on Streamlabs. Can we still submit to the general debate or rather not? Salute, guys. Great show. Your audio is fine so far, Drew. Okay, that's great to hear. Yes, you can. ActionIndustriesBrand@gmail.com. You can always submit. Don't feel bad if you don't get picked. There's going to be so many more shows with so many more great topics. But you guys can always submit every week. Even if you're not a general, we encourage it. So as I said, next week on the 4th, it's going to be the greatest trilogies of all time. And I'm going to be looking like a jackass with my hair because Ben's going to pick out some great hairstyle for me. And then, Ben, we got one more donation here from Larry Lease saying, "Get off my plane."
Get off my plane with my family. I wish we'd watched that video. I'm disappointed we didn't watch the video.
I'm just scared of that. I'm just over the copyrights at this point.
Yeah. All right, guys. I know I'm talking about the Harrison Ford saying my family video. I'm going to look it up as soon as we're done.
No, we got to do it. We got to do it. So normally we would play our normal intro song, but I think after such an incredible week, such an incredible day, we'll leave you guys on this one. We'll be back tomorrow night, 5 p.m. PDT. See you guys there. Big time salute.
We're back.
Ha! Yeah.
All right,
Not leaving. Nope, we're leaving. I'm done. Muted. Done.